Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I am here with the newest championship showdown. Now, there was something floating around in the beginning of a chart of the fastest cars, and the RWBs were pretty high on the list. In fact, the RWB EVO was supposed to be the fastest car. Well, I can tell you with the new update, the Ultimates either got buffed or something got changed. They are now the fastest cars. So without a doubt, if you're not facing an Ultima, you have a chance, but if you're facing a fully maxed Ultima, even your Porsche RWB EVO is going to lose. So Apex car Ultima, everything else under that. However, the regular RWB is about 4th or 5th in the list, so it's not terrible, and it can probably get you pretty far. And on this account, this is what I'm using. On my main account, I was using the green RWB, and that one got really far on the first day because not many people have the Ultima yet. But every Ultima I ran across, barring one, I lost to. So the Ultima is definitely this Apex car for this particular event. Now, that being said, RWB has an interesting quirk. At least this black one does. The green one doesn't suffer from this. The lawnmower version doesn't have this issue. But this car does, and that is it gets a 0 RPM drop on a perfect launch. So that'll kill your run by about a second. What you're going to need to do actually, and I don't know why I'm not finding an opponent. Oh, here we go. What you need to do actually with this car is launch slightly late rather than dead on. Now sometimes you miscalculate, you launch dead on anyway, and then you really get kind of screwed. But right there, as you can see, I got a 0 RPM drop. Now he did as well, it looks like. So this is still an even run. When you get a 0 RPM drop, if you don't freak out, you just kind of shift it, let it shift, hit the nitrous third like you normally would, you'll be all right. You're not going to do great, but if the other guy had the same issue, then the two of you just had a heads-up run. And I'm pretty positive his tune's a little bit different because he's missing a few Evo points. But the bottom line is that 0 RPM drop is really obnoxious, and it can really ruin your runs on this particular showdown. Does that mean that the RWB is really bad? No. I mean, overall, this Porsche is a lot easier to launch than some other cars I've had the displeasure of running in Showdown. And the shifts are really pretty reasonable in timing and spacing. So you're not really getting hammered badly here. Okay, but again, you want to launch right around that 4K spot, almost slightly on the late perfect side to late. Slightly late, but not too late. And that can still get you a pretty good run out of the car. I mean, that's how I'm going to have to drive this car. You're going to make mistakes on timing. That's human error, and that's what makes it kind of different than a computer. Otherwise, it would be no challenge at all. Now, that wasn't the greatest run. I was able to time those sometimes better and still get like a 7.72 out of the car. Yes, I know that the world record is like a 7.69, but you know, I'm not looking for world record. I'm just looking to run as well as possible on a consistent basis. And what I find is, again, with the RWB, the biggest problem is that RPM drop, at least with the Gold Star version. Now, the RWB EVO is a little more sensitive to the launch point and how quick you can get into third on nitrous, but that's a whole different discussion. I have another video that I already recorded for that. We'll look at that one. But this one, the main thing is getting no 0 RPM drop. You will face other cars like your own, and you're probably going to win some just because they screw up. It's not even because they are worse players. They may be able to shift it perfectly when they launch right. But that random RPM drop launch is going to kill a lot of people in this competition. It's going to cause a lot of aggravation and probably a few phones being thrown. But that's what it is. As long as you're aware of it, and when you time your launch, try to compensate slightly, you should be okay. You're not going to get as beautiful a run as if you got it just right, but hey, losing a whole second because of a 0 RPM drop will more than likely cause you to lose more often than win. So I'll sacrifice a few hundreds to potentially avoid a whole tenth, and that's really what I'm doing here. So I'm adjusting my launching just a little bit so that it's always going to be on the late perfect to slightly late side. Okay, that's the trick here to avoid that 0 RPM drop. Let's see. I'm surprised I'm not getting opponents. This has been a pretty busy showdown because the other ones are so bad, and most people didn't have the Max F1 to play with. This one should be more popular, but somehow I wasn't finding opponents. Oh, speaking of all that, lag. Okay, nothing has changed with the update for me with lag. It's just as bad as before. Everything is like moving extra slow. You have to wait for everything. You just saw how long it took me just to get out of there. Now you see how long it's taking me to get back in there. Ridiculous. Taking all the fun out of the game for me. But, you know, it's going to stop me from making $1 million or so RP. Probably not. But is it as much fun to play? Absolutely not. Anytime you have lag, it takes a lot of the joy out of the game. Okay, so again, that time, as long as I get that launch pretty much right there between that late perfect and that slightly late, as you can see, the run's going to come out beautifully. It's not always going to be the best run ever, but at least it'll be a consistent 7.7 something on the hopefully lower than 0.5 side. Okay, 7.736, good enough for the job for this one. Now, cars you won't be able to beat are basically anything that's faster, any Ultimas that actually drive properly, and you know, the Porsche Evo, the purple star Porsche with the weird front wheels. Those are not going to be beatable by this car unless those players screw up somehow. So, but outside of this, you're going to see a lot of these RWBs because a lot of people have them, and I think a lot of people had them pretty built or fully maxed. So we're going to see a lot of these cars running in this showdown, and that's why I decided to record this one. I have the lawnmower version, and I did use that one as well. But you know, that's a different. Less likely you're going to have that car fully built than you will have this car fully built. So I think this is a more interesting car to look at. Oh, speaking of the lawnmower, here's one. Now, what's interesting about the lawnmower is that it launches almost slower than yours, but once it gets rolling, it'll pull on you. So it'll start off behind you and then pull on you right about now, and then stay ahead of you. Okay, that wasn't as far as ahead of me as I had expected, but that's the way that car works. So expect that when you're racing the lawnmower, it's gonna kind of, you know, the green one's gonna kind of slowly pull past you. The reason we call it the lawnmower is because in the past somebody posted a picture of that particular Porsche with a little kid pushing it like a lawnmower because of that ridiculously tall wing that it has. So that's why I keep referring to this Porsche as the lawnmower. Okay, so anyway, this showdown, is it fair? No. Is it easy to win in? No. But are we going to have more players participating? Probably, because RWB, unlike the F1, one is much easier to acquire over the time with events, and two, a lot of people have it built. Is it a Porsche that's, well, I just screwed up. Is it a Porsche that's absolutely worth building? No. But I think the other guy got a 0 RPM drop, so I win anyway. How about that? Okay. Now, even with a slightly screwed up late launch, so it still did okay. I mean, this is the thing about this RWB. As long as you don't get that 0 RPM drop, you'll do all right. It's not great, but it beats an 8.0 run, which is, looking at that time, I'm telling you, he got the 0 RPM drop. I can almost tell from the time they're running. That's the issue. Okay, so I'm at about 1,000. I don't think I'm going to push much further right now without starting to run into real tough opponents, but basically a slightly more enjoyable showdown than the prior ones, and certainly I will probably do more runs in this one, one because the Porsche is more fun to drive, and secondly because, well, you know, it just seems a little more competitively interesting than the one where only the fully elite, fully maxed F1 has any chance of getting anywhere. Alright, let me know what you think. I will also upload the Purple Star EVO runs, which I recorded separately, so you have a little bit of comparison between the two as far as performance. Now the purple one, the Purple Star Lawnmower, I had no issue, and that's the RWB EVO, which was the Evolution Cup car. I had no issue taking down most of the Yellow Star cars, and at the same time I also didn't have any issue with 0 RPM drop. So in almost every way that car is better. In any case, feel free to comment. If you like the video, leave a like. As you can see, I'm still having all these weird black screen flashing and all kinds of other problems that came with the latest update. So this mini update really didn't fix much. In any case, if you like the video, leave a like. If you want to comment, comment. If you like my channel, subscribe and hit the bell so you can get notifications. As always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.